Welcome to the reading room at Farley's library. Hey, I have a question for you. Have you ever seen an animal that you didn't know much about? I mean, a species that might have been brand new to you. Well, if you haven't, hold on to your hats because we're going to take a trip today to the Potter Park Zoo in Lansing, Michigan. It's a great place to see animals that you've seen before and animals that you have never seen in your life. So come with us today. It's going to be lots of fun.
Welcome to Potter Park Zoo.
We're going to tell you a whole lot about the animals.
The first thing we did at the zoo was get a great lesson from our friends. They taught us all about the different types of animals. Did you know that there are mammals, birds, reptiles, insects, amphibians, and fish all over our planet? Mammals are warm-blooded animals, usually covered in fur or hair, and they have live babies. Our friends brought a chinchilla to show us an example of a mammal. Birds usually fly and they're covered in feathers. Here our friends are showing us a dove as an example of a bird. Reptiles? Well, they're scaly-skinned, cold-blooded animals. Here our friends have a scarlet king snake. It looks just like a coral snake, but unlike the coral snake, the scarlet king snake is not poisonous. Insects? Well, we call them bugs. You can find them everywhere. Here, our friends brought a Madagascar kissing cockroach. Look at that thing. Do you want to kiss that? Unfortunately, they couldn't bring a fish and they didn't bring an amphibian. But we had a really good time learning all about the different classifications of animals from our friends. Next, we toured the zoo and met all sorts of interesting and wonderful animals, like this pretty pair of peacocks prancing through the park, or their friend here with its feathers spread in full bloom. Peacocks spread their feathers to attract mates. We met a few llamas, but they weren't much for conversation. Maybe that's because they knew this guy was watching. Tigers are fierce predators and can eat up to 88 pounds of meat at one time. I hope he's already eaten today. And what about this rhino? You definitely don't want to be standing in his way when he's in a rush. Did you know that rhinoceros horns are made out of the same stuff as your fingernails? And we couldn't turn our back on this monkey because he'd already turned his back on us. He's looking for bugs to eat. Somebody tell the Madagascar kissing cockroach to hide. Now this is an animal I've never seen before. It's called a bongo. I thought bongos were drums. Who knew? We saw many other animals like lions, penguins, otters, and eagles. But if you want to see them too, take a trip to the Potter Park Zoo. Was that trip fun or was that trip fun? I'm glad you enjoyed it, but it's not over yet. One of the books that I'm going to share with you this week talks about someone else who took a trip to the zoo. It's a book written by Kelly Graves and illustrated by Lisa Chauncey Guida. The book is called Miss Moo Goes to the Zoo. I'm going to be reading this book to you, so enjoy the story. Miss Moo Goes to the Zoo. Miss Moo Goes to the Zoo. Written by Kelly Graves, illustrated by Lisa Chauncey Guida. Miss Moo lived on a farm out in the countryside. Across the farm, from the barn to the fields, all the animals lived happily together. But for Miss Moo, nothing exciting ever happened. And without really knowing why, Miss Moo was very sad. One day, Miss Moo announced to her barnyard friends, "I just can't stay It's so boring here. I think it's time that I go my own way." All the animals got together and said, "Oh, Miss Moo, please don't go. We love you so." But Miss Moo shook her head, brushed away a moo tear, and said, "I have to go." And off she went. Soon Miss Moo came to another farm. She saw friendly horses and sheep, a hen and her chicks, and a couple of pigs. They all seemed happy, that was clear, but she knew nothing would be different here. So she kept walking and walking and walking until she came to the zoo. It was the city zoo. A zoo for Miss Moo? What could she do but walk in and explore? All of a sudden, Miss Moo heard a strange animal sound. Turning around, she saw the elephants. "Who are you and what do you do?" the elephants asked, but not very nicely. "I am a cow," replied Miss Moo. "I give milk and I moo. Can I come and live with you?" "Humph," said the elephants. "You're not special. Go away and leave us now. We don't want to live with a boring old cow." Miss Moo turned sadly away and started to walk again. When she looked up, she saw the giraffes. "Who are you and what do you do?" the giraffes asked, but not very nicely. "I am a cow," said Miss Moo. "I give milk and I moo. Can I come and live with you?" "Humph," said the giraffes. "You're not special. Go away and leave us now. We don't want to live with a boring old cow." Sadly, she turned away and walked just a bit more. Her eyes opened when she saw the lions. "Who are you and what do you do?" the lions roared. "Roar," but not nicely at all. "Oh dear," said Miss Moo. "I'm a cow. I give milk and I moo, but I'm not sure if I want to live with you." "Huh," said the lions. "What's so special about a cow? Go away and leave us now." Miss Moo ran all the way to the other side of the zoo, and she began to cry. "Moo-hoo, moo-hoo, moo-hoo. Who are you? And what do you do?" came a very nice voice from behind Miss Moo. "I'm just a boring old cow," said poor Miss Moo. "I can only give milk and that wouldn't interest you." Said the zebras. "Who are we to say? We just stand in the sun and graze all day. But the zookeeper feeds us right about now. He should know what to do with the cow." Sure enough, the zookeeper walked right up to Miss Moo and said, "Who are you and what do you do?" "I'm not an elephant big and gray. I'm not a giraffe who stretches tall every day. I'm not even a lion with a great big roar. I'm just a cow who's a bit of a bore." "Now, Miss Cow, that's no way to talk. Come with me, let's go for a walk. said the zookeeper. So Miss Moo followed him to the petting zoo. What a surprise! Miss Moo could not believe her eyes. There were children everywhere petting and feeding animals, and these animals were not elephants or giraffes or lions. They were pigs and sheep, hens and horses. Miss Moo, said the zookeeper, your journey is at an end. Stay here with us and be our friend. Miss Moo stared at all the children. She looked at the animals who lived in the petting zoo. She smiled shyly, and everyone smiled back. And at last, she knew what she would do. At last, there was a new home for Miss Moo. The end. That was a great story. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I've got a couple of more books to share with you. Here's a book that's written by another one of my favorite authors. It's written by Helen Coucher, and the book is called Jaguar. Jaguar tells the story of a jaguar who goes on a journey, but he's not journeying alone because there's a hunter who's following him. What's going to happen if this hunter catches the jaguar? Well, to find out, you're going to have to open the book. Now, reading isn't always about a really good story. Sometimes we read because we need to know things. We're trying to find information. When we went to the zoo, there were lots of animals that I had never seen before, and I needed to find out more information about those animals. So I turned to this next book that I'm going to show you. This is the Macmillan Illustrated Animal Encyclopedia. It's a great source of information for animals from all over the world, animals in all different categories. So, if you want to know information about an animal, grab this book. Well, that's all for this week. Be sure to check out our website at www.farleyslibrary.com for more information on the books that we shared or the animals that we saw. Also, check us out next week. Our next week's video will be just as fun as this week's video. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
If you need a book, come take a look.